Hi, welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be related to my media journal. So I'm working on a series related to the media journal, but just for today, we're going to be doing some backlogging and it's going to be twofold. So, or I guess threefold. It's going to be first off, me filling out the actual log itself so that I can get that portion settled. And then we're going to switch to a screen recording of me actually figuring out the picture situation so that I can print them out and get them onto printer paper and all that good stuff and be able to actually paste them in. And then we'll finish off with that journaling session where I go ahead and paste all the images in. If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and keep on watching. So I have come back into a horizontal style for my media journaling, similar to how I kept it in my Hobonichi weeks, with slight differences. So what I decided for myself with this setup is that since I am already keeping track of like my reactions and my thoughts on the medias that I'm consuming in my daily log, so like for example, here, right? And you know what? This is slight spoiler for One Piece, but essentially, let me just block it so that you don't see it. So essentially, I will write down what I'm consuming. In this case, it was episodes of One Piece, and then I'll write down my thoughts of it in this daily log. And the daily log is just that, a log from my day that I write everything and anything that I want to in here. And so since I have that, I don't need to write my thoughts necessarily on this side. If there is something that I really want to, I guess, repeat, like something that really hits close to home, a quote or something. So like, for example, this quote from Robin that I absolutely love that I wrote in here. Which one? Here. This quote from Robin from One Piece: "I want to live, take me with you." I really love that quote. I wrote a lot about it in this little section here. And this is the type of quote that for me, I would really like to put in my media journal as well, because it was an impactful moment in that week. And so that might come into this section as well. I don't mind the repetition of it too much because I'm always doing this after the fact. So what I decided was, so that it would be not as stressful for me, because I'm keeping track of everything that I watch, read, or listen to on my notes app or in my daily log, sometimes in both, just to make it easier for myself. So at the end of the day or at the beginning of the following day, I will go into my notes app and put a log of everything that I watched and everything that I read, so I won't forget. I'll also maybe do it in my daily log. And that way, whenever I have enough images to print out a page, I can go in and essentially do this whenever, right? So I do my log on this side, and then this side is going to be for images, fan art that I've collected, quotes that I like from whatever I watched that week. And so I will reference my notes app, I'll reference my daily log, and I'll reference the images that I have on my phone that I downloaded from the week. And yeah, that's pretty much kind of like how that works. So I'm going to go through the process right now of logging everything from April that I haven't logged, because I started in this insert week 16. So I need to log the first 2 weeks of April. I need to finish logging last week, and then I need to log this week, which I am using on this week. I'm going to use it for the rest of the month as well. Some of the date covers that Aaron Ware made for the May Patreon printable. Loving that. I did have to cut a bit so that it would fit within, and then I just use those cuttings over here as like a callback. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And then I will touch base with you about what the next step would be in this kind of like journaling session. Okay, so at this point, I've gone in and done the log for the rest of the weeks and then also set up my spread for next week. Again, I'm using the date covers from Erin Wears Printables in May in her Patreon. And yeah, that's essentially what I do. I go in and I log everything that I watched, read, or listened to in the week. I'll log it in here, episode by episode. Chapter by chapter. That's just my preference of doing things. But of course, you can modify if you are interested in doing media journaling in whatever which way. Another thing that I also do is I keep a little tracker over here in the corner. And I'm debating as to whether to move this into another insert later on. But for now, I'm just keeping it here. I did this as well in my Hobonichi weeks. And then, let's see. So you can see here that that's the entire log. For example, on Monday, I listened to the Easy Japanese podcast. On Tuesday, I did Dune 2, which was a movie. On Wednesday, I watched some One Piece and read some manga, so on and so forth. I did some reading here as well, and this mimics this. I do color code as well. But of course, you don't have to color code. And so now that I've gone in and done my log, I've already compiled the images that I have, and I will prepare them to print out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan these and I'm going to create a layout on Procreate. And then based on that layout, then I will resize the images and all that good stuff. I'll put it onto an 8x10 or an 8x11 and then print it out to mimic that layout in the physical. So we're going to switch over to a screen recording so you can kind of see how that works. And then after the screen recording is done, we'll jump back in here for me to actually do the layout on the journal itself. Hi, so now that you saw my digital process, I just wanted to really quickly show you what it is that I did to get these images in the correct sizing onto my computer. So what you go is to this little section here. This is for Procreate, right? You go to share, and then there's this section here that says share layers. Right here, share layers. And then I did PNG files. And what that does is that it creates an image for each layer within the sizing that you've set. And so that will make it so that when it prints, right, it prints in the correct size. So that's kind of like what's going on there. That was what I did. And so now we have all of this. I did print in clear. I printed in matte sticker paper. And then I also printed on vinyl because I wanted to try out the different types that I had. And yeah, now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side and start actually cutting the pieces out so that we can get started on actually pasting them in. Oh, it's so exciting. Okay, let me zoom you out. And the spread that I did in here, it's mostly just to get like the sizing correct. And then also it's going to be essentially like a guide. I'm not going to follow it 100% because there's always, issues that happen, or, if I'm inspired specifically that day, then that might change, but it's just a guide. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and then I will put some music over that, and I'll catch you once I finish cutting them out. And actually we're losing light, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn on my overhead, or actually, yeah, I'll turn on my overhead a little bit. For anyone who's curious, I am watching One Piece as I'm cutting this. I just finished Water 7 arc, and they're on their way to the New World. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anybody who watches or reads One Piece and hasn't gotten that far. But yeah. Part of these are from when I was still doing my life archives in the other in the first insert, so we'll cut it out. And I just like cutting portions of it out first so that it's a little easier and for me to manage. So this is cut on matte clear sticker paper. There's 2. So I kind of make a decision when I'm setting up the spreads. You might have noticed that I choose which ones will be on transparent and which ones will be on a white background based on the fan art itself. So like if the background is white on the fan art, then I use clear for that. That's kind of my reasoning behind that. And like I said, this is like really rough cutting, and then I'll refine once it's a little more manageable. Also, if you do watch One Piece, please tell me who your favorite character is. Which is your favorite character, or which is your favorite Straw Hat? I kind of approach this in the same way that I approach everything I do, which is I try to assembly line things. It feels like my brain can go faster if I do that. Hello, welcome to the next and final portion of the video, which is where I will show you how I went from the digital kind of like setup to the actual physical layout in my media journal. So I've already gone ahead and set up 2 of them off camera, so it wouldn't be like a super long video. And so what I'll do is that I will post on screen somewhere the image of the digital version, right? So this is the one that I'm going to be working on today. So I will go ahead and post this image on the screen somewhere, and then you'll see how this image then gets translated into my physical media journal. And I can show you what that looks like on the ones that I've done so far, because they are not the same. So like, for example, let me zoom you in. I still need to actually journal in here, but ooh, there we go. So this is what that looked like. Let me put this up here. That's what that looked like on here. And this is what it translated to here. It's really just meant to be a guide, not necessarily a strict imitation. It's really just for sizing purposes so that I can get the image sizing correct and it'll fit on the page. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side. Enjoy the little journaling session. So there it is. That's kind of like what it looks like. This one actually doesn't have much room for me to journal in anymore because I did my journaling beforehand. And so I made my spread according to like surrounding what I had already journaled. I can still probably add some more little decorations to this, but in terms of fan art or any like online things that I wanted to glue in here, that's pretty much it. And so you can see already that it starts gaining a different life once you start adding images into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other two in a separate journaling session. So stay tuned for that. That'll be its own little journal with me. And then I will also fill in any like additional text in here. But I just wanted to show you how it is that I'm currently media journaling. There will be a separate video on other ways that I have media journaled in the past that can serve as inspiration for you if you are interested in media journaling, but don't necessarily like this specific way of media journaling. I'll also link up above my 2023 media journal, which is similar but also slightly different. It's not as I guess as intense when it comes to figuring out a layout. I did a lot more just journal heavy things versus so many images, but I was really wanting to use my fan art that not my fan art, but use the fan art that I accumulate and collect on my phone and put it somewhere tangible for me because I don't know if you guys were on Twitter last year, towards the end of the year, once Twitter became X. But there was a certain point where there was speculation that Twitter was going to go down forever. And I was really stressing out because I had a lot of fan art on Twitter that I loved looking at, but I didn't have on my phone. And so I went through it and downloaded all of the fan art. And it was just really stressful for me because some of this art is just really precious to me, really important to me for the fandoms or the shows that I enjoy, the stories that I'm into. And so this is just another way of me making sure that I have a record of those things because it's just something that I enjoy. I also sometimes print out memes and things like that. Something that I printed out into my daily journal, for example, is this quote by an author that someone posted. So here's a little spoiler for my May cover page, but you know, I sometimes print out quotes from Tumblr that I find or memes, kind of similar. I'm pretty sure that you've seen Claire from Online. She has a very unique and also similar concept, only she's doing a lot of like memes and also things she finds online. She's pasting them into her journals for the same reason, right? Like we spend a lot of time on social media, a lot of time consuming media, a lot of time on the internet. And so that's also a part of our lives, right? And so I want to make sure that I journal about that as well. So just to give a quick little before and after, here's what it looked like digitally. And then here's what it looks like physically. So you see that it doesn't have to be exactly the same. That's kind of how I am media journaling right now. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a little different. It was more on the informative side. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.